with warrior, and they will scrap only if I give them the order. And you feeling itchy, you got something to say, just know we hop this way. Nobody else is suited for this other than us. I know it's crazy, but we work with it and don't give up. Welcome to the show. If you don't know the name, we call it Hop This Way.
Welcome back to all our favorite itchy onions out there. We're back. Season 2, episode 2, and mind-blowing event we've got going here for you. It's your boy Zeus here with you, with the rest of our Hop This Way Tong. We got Money Matt Chua to my left right here. We've got the master right beside him, Frank Zong, and of course, the lovely and talented Rebecca Nishi, and the tough as nails, Stephanie. How's everybody doing today?
Oh, it's gonna be great. Oh, it's gonna be great.
So psyched. Geeking already.
I see that already, and I'm thinking when I see the bunny ears, first thing I think is Hugh Hefner and the Playboys, and I'm like, you know, if on this show Warrior, if there was someone from the cast, if there was a character that truly embodied more of that Playboy style and bad boy style, it's got to be Baby June, right? It's got to be Baby June.
Brown Prince of Chinatown.
You know what? Why don't we find out what Baby June himself thinks about that? Ladies and gentlemen, we actually have Baby June, Jason Tobin, with us today.
Yeah!
Yeah.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Great. Thanks for having on.
This is absolutely amazing. Thanks so much for doing this. This is a show that, this is the little show that could. I like to kind of call it. You know, you guys had the great run over on Cinemax, and then when Cinemax closes down, did you guys expect the Warrior response that you got in that, you know, Save Warrior HBO, campaign that happened?
I don't know if I expected it, but I knew this show wasn't going to go down without a fight. You know what I mean? Like it just, it was such an amazing show. It was great writing, you know, great acting, and just great artists and craftspeople working on this project. And obviously the history of the show, it being this, this narrative of we're correcting a wrong from 50 years ago when Bruce Lee tried to make this show. So I just couldn't believe that the show would end on that note. It's just like, no way, we worked too hard on this show. It was too good. So I don't know what I expected, but as soon as we could feel the fan response, and which was coupled by the determination of everybody that was behind the camera. You know, it was like we heard this vocal support from fans, and then behind the scenes, we also knew that people were really pushing hard to find a new home for the show. And HBO Max was always going to be the perfect fit. But it was just a matter of time. There was obviously corporate reshuffling and then COVID and but in a weird way, like this, it kind of all worked out for the better because we're back now, and we're going to be back better than ever.
Love it. Stephanie, you got a question here for Jason.
Okay, so Jason, as the quote elder Asian chick, I mean, I'm the same age as Shannon. I'm always big on the representation portion. So when we were gabbing with Perry and Rich, there were a couple comments about, like, Perry was on another show about how many Chinese folk were there for you to use in the cast in South Africa. So what was that like to have so many Chinese folk around? And I believe it was probably an older dialect or possibly Toisanese. So what was that like to actually encounter, a different set of immigrant Asians and to incorporate them?
Wow. It's interesting because in Cape Town, and obviously there are Asian people in South Africa and Chinese people in South Africa, but when you film a TV show or a movie in LA or Australia or Canada or in England, like getting Asian actors is not that difficult, and especially with extras and stuff. But in Cape Town, they couldn't find enough Asian background artists, so they actually flew background artists in from Johannesburg. So I don't know how often people fly in extras, but we were flying in extras from Johannesburg, and also because there weren't a lot of people, Asian people that were in the film business there. Most of our Asian backgrounds were background actors were people that had other jobs, other lives, doctors and real estate agents and whatever, what have you, right? And so it was really truly interesting, like um, speaking to them, because for them it was like they had the opportunity to be in front of the camera and to work with us, and it was very fascinating and interesting for them. So it was weird because sometimes we'd be in the parking lot and there were like all these Mercedes parked there. I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm like, wait, why are you working for peanuts with us when like clearly you have a much better lifestyle? And because as most people might know, that being an extra is it's kind of like grunt work sometimes. You get treated, you don't get treated
Oh
well.
my God, yeah.
And I started off as an extra, so so I know that world very well. I definitely started this business from the ground up. I got no I had no what was it no leg up in that regard. And that's why to this day I'm always very, very encouraging. And I actually talk to the extras. I know there's some actors that like maintain some sort of like distance sometimes, but I'm very open with the extras, and because I always tell them like, look, I was there, that's where I started. And so what was really particularly interesting with Warriors, that I got to hear the stories from these Asian South Africans and their experiences during apartheid, and it was just a stark reminder, of the immigrant story and how Asian people have been treated, Chinese people have been treated in the diaspora, so it definitely informed our performances, as if being Asian American or British Asian or whatever wasn't enough, but to actually hear it and feel it there was really it was interesting. And the other thing about being in South Africa, it kind of like you kind of feel like you're in this time capsule, right? Because Warrior takes place in the 1870s, and then being there and kind of, I don't know, it just lends to that feel of being away, and in another time, another place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Oh,
Matt,
Pleasure.
what you got for Jason?
All right. So, my question is actually about like navigating through your career. So, you know how like many actors, like yourself, I'm starting as well. Zeus is getting in there too.
Nice.
We have these like aspiring, dreams of getting up to that level.
Yes.
Like you get like these, you book here and there, and then eventually, like when you start taking it up to the next level, you have like those bumps and then those detours like happen, quite often, than more than you would like it to.
Sure.
And it kind of shakes your confidence to like a point where it's like sometimes they don't even go through with it. So my question would be, were there ever moments in your career that you ever felt like unsure or self-doubt about pursuing acting? And, how did you overcome that adversity? And do you still feel like that today? And how do you manage it?
Well, thank you for the question, Matt. I'm laughing as you're asking me that question because, like, have I ever experienced heartache and being kicked in the teeth and in the stomach and stomped on by this business? Never.
No.
I knew it. See, I knew this wasn't going to work.
It was an easy ride for you the entire way.
I've been on top this whole time, Matt. Of course. So, I feel like sometimes I'm repeating myself, and I use the same analogies, but I'll go ahead and do it. But I really feel like, my life as an actor has been, there've been so many ups and downs, and so many times for long stretches of time where I've been literally, face down on the canvas, knocked the F out, you know what I mean? and a million miles from my dreams. You know, I moved to LA because I'm this kid from Hong Kong that dreamt about being an actor and working in Hollywood and doing movies and following like my idol Bruce Lee in that pursuit, you know. And I've said this a lot, that, you know, especially those first 6, 7, 8 years living in LA and pursuing my dream as an actor were the toughest times of my life. I mean, I was just flat broke, and I didn't know anything, you know. Um, I I I was very ambitious and had big dreams, but I didn't know anything. It took me a long time just to, like, you know, go through a few teachers and you know, kind of find my way, just learning the craft. And before I even had to, you know, fight for opportunities, you know. But little did I know that there was even going to be more hurdles ahead in my career, you know. So yeah, I've been there've been so many ups and downs, man. I mean, we could spend a whole podcast or more talking about all the downs. But to answer your question, dude, nothing ever changes, because like as you move up, as you progress, like, you know, you know, I was thinking about, you know, reflecting on my journey, right? And you know, I get Warrior after literally 20 years of being or more being an actor, and it's my first time, you know, being a series regular, you know, and it took me that much time to get there. And we're filming season 2 of Warrior, and I'm there with my wife and my 3 children, and I'm on a TV show, and I turn to my wife and I tell her, I'm like, I have achieved all my dreams. Like, this is literally the dream I've had my whole life, and finally, you know, I'm living it, you know. And I felt that from deep within my soul, and then I had this feeling like, what shit is around the corner now? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
and
it's so real. It's so
and
real.
and I'm
So
like,
true.
this is, you know, this is, and then the show gets canceled, and then
Right.
COVID hits, and then, dude, the truth is, Matt, I've basically been unemployed mostly for the last 3 years. You know, like,
Mm.
it does. I'm an actor on a TV show who's, hi, darling, and yet, like, you know, I was smashed by COVID, you know, like the rest of the world. I mean, we're very lucky, you know, we're healthy and stuff. So I mean, I don't mean to like say that, you know, we've suffered more than anyone else, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm an actor who's been basically mostly unemployed. I did one movie last year, Fistful of Vengeance. 2020, I
Yeah.
didn't work at all, not a single day of shooting. Did one movie last year, and then now in 2022, you know, thank God I got Warrior. But you know, like, it never ends, man. I mean, you know, Matt, you could be on a TV show, you could be thinking that you've made it, you're living your dream, and then you could be unemployed for the next 2, 3 years. So it never changes. Nothing. It's never different. And this dirty little secret that I'm going to tell you is that every actor in Hollywood is terrified of not working again,
Yeah.
and like slipping down the rung of the ladder
Mm.
that they're
Mm.
progressing on. So, you know, I'm going to say the very cliche thing, which is enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, enjoy uh, um, the uncertainty, and learn to live in that discomfort, you know, or find some kind of solace in it. It's kind of like, I guess, like kind of working out, or self-flagellation. You got to kind of like it somewhat, you know.
Was that
Woo. Give this man a
self-adulation
round
or
of applause. Give this
Yeah.
self-flatulation?
man a round of applause. Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh,
Oh,
one last thing for actors out there, and probably in anything you guys do, remember that get your enjoyment and your joy and from the acting and the work itself. Because if you think of it as like, I'm only going to be happy when I'm this actor or this successful or on this show or whatever, then you're setting yourself up for a lot of pain and agony. Enjoy the work, because that is that's where it's at.
Here's the question of the night: how can such a wonderful actor be unemployed?
I don't
So
know.
we
I
all
keep asking
deep
myself
dive.
the same question.
We all
Sorry,
deep
what's that?
dove on your career, and Jason.
Oh,
I mean,
awesome.
dude, like there's you have got some depth to you, but I also want to know who hurt you, Jason. I watched the serial killer movie or
Okay.
Chink as it was
Yes.
called. I don't.
Yes.
To me, that feels like when a white person says the N word. I feel like I should never
Yes.
say that.
Yeah.
But you go to some serious depths in that movie, and I wonder, the correlations there between that and Baby June. I don't want to steal someone else's question, so I'm going to let Frank actually jump on here.
Hey.
Hey,
And my daughter's watching me.
Or the elders.
So,
there you go, right there, the
what was-
beautiful family.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Sorry, what was your question? I got distracted.
Sorry, go ahead, Frank. You take this one, buddy.
Okay, yeah. Because Jason, I first saw you. I think a lot of us, at least from my generation, saw you first in Parallel Tomorrow, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
And that actually, it's I kind of hate to admit, but it's like for the first couple episodes of the show, it was like that view that I had of you as Virgil, that kind of influenced how I was seeing Young June, right? But after a while, of course, like you see the series progress and you see Young June progress beyond anything that Virgil showed us in that movie.
Yeah.
It's like how much of playing him helped kind of inform how maybe you wanted to go into Young June's character and like how far you wanted to take it, because like he went like after season one, So yeah. Well, really the first half of season one.
Thanks for that question, Frank. It's interesting because like when I got the call for Warrior, the audition, I hadn't played Virgil or that kind of character in obviously a long time. It's like 20 years since 20 years since Tomorrow, right? And but I think by that point it was already like 15 or plus years since I'd played Virgil, and I had actually I often think that like the right role and your life, they coincide at the right time for whatever reason. And I hadn't played a type of person with that kind of energy in a long time. And so I could see why Justin, wanted me to read for it. And but at the time I remember reading thinking like, oh man, I'm a dad now. I'm like, I'm not this young, like, I had dad. Yeah, I had dad bod, and I was like, just a different stage of my life,
Not anymore,
and
man.
and
Wait, that's a dad bod?
Yeah, seriously.
So I did not look like that when I got the job. Quickly, I had basically, I'd loved martial arts all my life, and I trained in martial arts. But by the time I got the call for Warrior, I hadn't practiced in, probably a decade. I just, life had taken over and had other priorities and that kind of thing. And so yeah, like when I actually got the job, and it was like 2 weeks later, I was frantic. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so out of shape. And so I had to train. But going back to your question, so I remember at the time I had originally read for Assam, right? And because everyone reads for Assam,
right?
everyone reads for it. And I didn't get any further with it. And then I got a call frantically a few months later saying that would I read for another role, and I said of course. And it was Young June, and so I knew reading it that I had to bring a bit of that Virgil kind of energy to the character. And some people have joked about it being like maybe they're long lost relatives or something, like Young June's
it's like the progression of Virgil,
great grandfather or something, like Warrior gave me permission to fall in love with martial arts again, and to train and to prioritize it, and it gave me permission to walk and talk and feel like this person that, you know what I mean? And there's many schools of thought when it comes to acting, right? And But I knew for me, like, I just had to feel like him. And so it just, for me, the getting into the character was the way I could stand, the way I could, like, just embody him. And I knew that the posture and the way he'd walk was like kind of like the hook to kind of get me to feel this person. And I don't know if you guys have heard this story, but when I got the call, they were a bit kind of frantic. Casting was frantic, and Justin Lin was like kind of giving me notes, and the showrunner Jonathan Chopper was giving me notes on the role even before I had even read. And they were all basically telling me, "Hey, play Youngjun, chill, don't go crazy, don't go over the top." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And that went totally against my instincts when I had read the sides. And but they had told me repeatedly, please, like, don't go over the top, play it chill. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right, well, I'm a professional. I'll do as I'm directed, And so I did the scenes, and it's one of the scenes is where Assam comes back from jail in like episode 2 or 3. Is it 3?
Oh, in the bar.
Yeah, the bar, and I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, cheering him on and stuff. But in my audition, I played it super chill because that's what they asked for. It was
Yeah.
very much like kind of Marlon Brando in The Godfather. And so I sent it in, and they said, no. This is, we're like, we need to see the energy of this guy. And I'm like, well, of course you do, And so basically, I threw out all their notes, and they gave me the opportunity to redo my audition, and then I just played him the way I wanted to play him.
Nice.
I played him, in a way that I would enjoy the character, right? And then I did 1 more 2 takes, threw in a little improv, and then within a couple hours we were already talking about contracts and stuff like that. So, what I took from that was that a lot of the actors that had come in had played him really crazy, right? But it's not that we can't play larger than life characters, but if we do, we must ground them, right? And this is what Youngjun provides for me as an actor. I get to do everything. I get to play the subtlest moments, and I get to play the biggest, broadest moments too. And it really is like a gift as an actor to play these ranges and to go from comedy to drama and to these small intimate moments to these big, broad, sociopathic ones. So emotional and but yeah, it was nice to bring back some of that energy from Virgil. So
The show would
I love
not
it.
be the same without your comedic, addition to it. So no
Yeah,
way,
thank
no
you,
way.
Stephanie.
there's definitely a lot of comedic properties to the young June character, which I think makes him a favorite to so many, as well as myself. Now, you talked about you keeping it grounded. How much does having someone like Perry Young help keep your character grounded? And
Oh
what's
my
he like?
God.
Because we all know Perry Offset. Like we've all got to talk with him and stuff like that. He is one of the chillest, most grounded guys you'll ever meet.
Yes.
He's almost the complete opposite of Father June. But what is he
Yes.
like for you as you're saying, as an actor who's trying to make his mark? How important was he to be sort of that lightning rod for you?
Wow. Perry is, like, I don't think I can overstate this, is the nicest man in the world. Like, that guy is such a gentle, sweet human being, and just a lovely, lovely person to be around. And it was so his energy, like, it's funny because, like, who he plays and who he is in real life, he's not that at all.
That's why I call
um
him Daddy June.
Daddy June. And so yeah, no, he's such good people. And I'm looking forward to working with so many people again on season 3, but he's definitely one of them. And he's such a sweetheart. So I mean, as you know, he makes flutes, right? He's a flute maker,
Right,
and
right.
so we would spend a lot. So he made a lot of us flutes, and he made me one, and I really bonded with my flute, um, and we spent a lot of time chilling, hanging out, playing flute, not smoking anything, playing flute, eating
Don't
good
believe you
food,
for a second.
not smoking anything, and just making music and good times. And don't read anything into that, guys. Don't read anything into that, guys.
The fact that you had to
So
say it twice. The fact that you had to say it twice. Love it. I love
oh
it.
man, I can't
Um,
wait. Yeah.
yeah, Rebecca, you had a question for Jason as well.
Yeah. Oh, I heard you telling this story about you reading for Young Jun, and that you got whispered by Bruce Lee in your ear, like,
Yes. Oh yes,
honestly express yourself.
yes.
And I think that everyone that connects to Bruce Lee has some change
Mm,
in their lives. Like for me, I'm here talking to you. It's already life changing for me. Um, Many things I got connected to becoming a water fan, the community that I got in. So I want to hear from you what have changed in your life. I know you changed your health habits, but
mm-hmm,
also um, you have been unemployed before, and now
mm-hmm,
after Warrior, after this connection with Bruce Lee, do you think anything changed for you, the way you behaved and you
mm.
deal with this?
Well, thank you, Rebecca. Yeah. So I touched upon it a little bit earlier, right? Like, uh, I think sometimes as an actor, uh, we want to be chameleons, and we want to like be anything and everything, and we kind of like, say, "Hey, I can be whatever you want me to be," right? Um, and instead of developing your own voice. And so going back to what I was saying earlier about my audition for Warrior, I did it the way they had all told me to. Played him chill. And of course it didn't feel right, it didn't sit right in my body, but I did it nevertheless. And when they gave me the opportunity to do it again, I literally heard the voice of Bruce Lee, which is this thing that's always kind of resonated with me, which was to honestly express yourself. And so I knew that if given this opportunity to play this character, and I had this one shot right here in front of me with this audition, then I better express myself in this role. And one of the greatest lessons in my life was that I loved Bruce Lee growing up. Like I thought like I was his reincarnation. Like and running around, acting and wanting to be Bruce Lee. But the biggest lesson was that I have to be me. I have to be Jason Tobin. I have to express myself through my art, whether it's martial arts or in a performance as an actor. And so in many ways, like you have to like lose Bruce Lee to then become and kind of embody that philosophy. And um, same thing going on the same note, like, we as actors sometimes we want to like be, you tell me what you want me to be and I'll be it for you. It's like
Right.
where but I learned this lesson early on in my career, which was, I've been in LA like 6 7 years. It wasn't working much, but I was like slowly like chipping away, learning about the craft and getting small little opportunities here and there. And I remember one day thinking like, I bet you if I bleached my hair, I just had this gut feeling. I said, if I bleach my hair, I'll book a job. And then I went down to Westwood, where UCLA is, and bleached my hair. And then sure enough, that week I booked like a commercial, and I booked a movie, right? And had anything changed? Nothing had changed. Like it was my look that changed. And I think it's important that you express yourself. You do and it seems so obvious now, but yeah, it's so in that regard, like to answer your question again, Rebecca, like, I feel like honestly expressing yourself is a lesson that you should never, that you should always keep learning, because that truly is, your job as an artist, right? Is to express yourself in the work that you're doing. And yeah, and so and then Youngjun gives me that opportunity. Like, I am so incredibly lucky, So
I,
yeah, I hope
I
I
love it.
answered your question. Yeah.
Jason, what I'm totally hearing is I need to dye my hair blonde.
You wanna?
That's it,
Yes.
right?
There you
Or maybe my
done.
You
beard.
need
Maybe the
that.
beard.
You
Maybe
done.
the beard.
Exactly.
I thought going
Wear
the
the
route with
beard.
changing the name to Zeus was gonna be it, but maybe I
It's
got to
gonna
get the
be
blonde,
Thor.
No,
blonde
you need
Gonna be
highlight.
Thor.
Super Saiyan Zeus. Let's
Super
go, damn it.
Saiyan.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah, yeah.
go.
It could happen. It could happen. I will be in the next live action of Dragon Ball Z.
No,
Uh,
please.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't, Jason. The last thing you need is someone that looks like Uncle Phil in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh
Uncle
man.
Phil. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
man.
No, this is great. We got some comments here as well.
Yeah.
Derek Chin from the Warrior Facebook group. We see you,
Yeah.
Warrior Facebook group. Lots of love out to them as well on
Yep.
Facebook. They
Nice.
did a great job at helping get this
Mhm.
get the show saved, like really.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Derek says Warrior Facebook group fans often claim Grass Valley Cowboys episode in season 1 as being a favorite. Which episodes are Jason's? And I think this is a great question.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay. First of all, I mean, I have so many episodes that I'm.
Right.
I mean, so there's so many. Oh, man.
All
That
of
one
them.
obviously yeah, I mean, literally all of them are my favorite. But that one that the grass back, it was called something about the shit. The
The
blood and the
shit.
shit.
The
It's
blood
called
and the
blood and the
shit.
shit. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So that is obviously one of my favorites for obvious reasons. And
Right.
one, the experience of shooting that particular episode was incredible, and that story and that sort of standalone episode, and obviously the emotional things and arcs and beats that I get to play with Andrew and with Wankea. And I remember I've watched that episode several times, and I'm always incredulous when I watch it. I'm like, damn, I cannot believe I'm in this episode. Like, it's such a great episode. And it's not even, it sounds bad because it sounds like I'm tooting my own horn or something, or patting myself on the back, but I just feel like, man, this is the kind of shit I dreamed about making, this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
And I watch it, and I'm always incredulous that I'm in it. I have to tell you this story that, like, I went to boarding school in England when I was a kid. My dad's British, my mom is Chinese, and I went to boarding school in England, and I was the only Chinese kid in the school. And one year we were doing a school play, and I didn't get a part in it, and I was really upset about it at the time. And I remember one of my friends saying, well, of course you didn't get a part in it, Jason. It's like, look at you. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? And then, so you're Chinese. It's like, and in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like, I'm Chinese, and this play is all about, 18th century English people. Like, yeah, all right, that makes sense. And I just kind of like, left it at that. And that night when I was in bed, couldn't sleep, and I was just thinking and thinking. And then I was thinking, like, but we're 10 years old. We're kids playing adults. But a Chinese kid can't play something else, something different. Like, it really sat with me, that thought, because I had taken his explanation as like, yeah, oh, that makes sense. And then here I am, 30, 40 years later, making this episode on Warrior, where I get to play a cowboy. What Chinese kid ever grew up thinking that they would ever be playing a cowboy on American TV? Like, you know, so, you know, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Fuck
you.
You can't play
Fuck
these people.
you.
Thank
You know,
you. We were all
and
waiting for that. We were all
And
waiting
then-
for that.
Yes.
And there you go.
Dude,
There you
like,
go.
you know,
I love it.
so cool, so cool.
That's
I
why
think-
representation matters,
Yeah.
It does.
because
It really
you believe
does.
things that people tell you, and if you don't see
Exactly.
yourself there, you think you can't. It's not
Mhm.
possible.
Right, exactly. And that's why when I watch, I'm like, I can't believe that's me. I can't believe it. You know, and then going on to just to speak a little bit more about this particular episode. So the standalone episodes in Warrior we film at the end. Normally we shoot the whole season chronologically, episode wise. There is some like bouncing back and forth between episodes because we shoot in blocks, but for the most part we shoot in order, except for the standalone, because we get through the 9 episodes with the whole cast, and then basically the cast that's left for that standalone episode stays, and then everyone can leave, right? So it's about scheduling. So episode 5 we actually filmed at the end of season 1. It's the final episode that we filmed, and as a result, we have a whole new cast, right? Because of the guest stars in that episode, and it feels like we're filming a movie at the end, and and so it's just a really nice way to end the season, and to kind of get that feeling of having made a movie, and yeah, such a great episode. And then in terms of my other favorite episodes, there are so many, but obviously the standalone in season 2 is in Mexico is really great.
That's what I was just going
But
to
I would
ask about that
say,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I would have to say, like, if I had to really pinpoint and be specific, I would say episode 9 of season 2, and that's the Chinatown riot scene. And for all the obvious
my
reasons,
God.
it's such an amazing episode, and my wife actually, she actually said after, she says, "You're pretty good in this episode." I'm like, really? Finally, after 2 seasons, now you're gonna give me some cred? Like, I love. I mean, I love so many things about that show and about these episodes. But yeah, I would say that is definitely one of my highlights.
Yeah, season 2, which we're discussing right now. We're on season 2 of our episode, and we see some right there, and there's some new characters there. We don't want to spoil because we're just going to be recapping episode 2 today of season 2.
Yeah.
But
okay,
my God, is there something to do with the 5th episode? Is that always the standalone episode in each season?
Yeah, so I don't know what the I guess it's just kind of worked out that way. So yeah, season 1 was episode 5, season 2 was episode 6, I think, was the standalone. But yeah, so right around the middle, they kind of throw in that. It's such a cool thing, and I have, I'm pretty sure they're gonna stick with that. I don't know because I haven't read any of the episodes yet, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring back that standalone episode because it's so popular. Everyone loves it.
I love the bottle episodes so much.
Definitely.
And that seems to be a JT thing too, right? Because he had a couple bottle episodes in Banshee. I don't know if you watched Banshee at all.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the latest season of C also had a bottle episode as well.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I mean,
all the badassery, such badassery.
Chopper, I'm telling you right now, and I've been saying this since Banshee, but Chopper, I give it within the next 2 years. That's the name on the top of everybody's list for making movies, for making TV shows. HBO, sign this guy up. You got James Gunn doing Peacemaker. Now you get Chopper to do Get Chopper to do Batman. I'm just putting that out there, and get Jason Tobin as Nightwing. Have Jason Tobin play Nightwing, and then we're good. Okay, I'm putting it out there right now. I know Chua hates that because Chua wants to play Nightwing, but
I will go. Let's go.
It will be something like Tim Burton more than thing.
Yeah.
It'd be
I
so
agree with
good.
you. JT's, oh man, like I can't speak highly enough about him. He's oh man, this whole team, Justin Lin and
Yeah.
Shannon and JT. Wow. It's weird because I remember like a couple years before they actually started to make Warrior, they had announced in the trades that they were it was in sort of, it was in the works. And I remember thinking like, nah, probably not going to be in that. Sounding feeling jaded at the time. And then a couple years later I'm on it. So you never know how things are going to work out.
So how has that affected your psyche, if you will, as an actor? Who you said you've admitted yourself you're a bit of a struggling actor going into Warrior. How
Yeah.
does that affect your psyche going forward after nailing this role and then becoming such a fan favorite? Now we've got people asking for Warrior conventions and shit like that. So
That's
you've become
awesome.
that household name. Has that affected your psyche at all in the positive?
You know, yeah. I mean, yes. Warrior has been this amazing gift. Like I, before Warrior, I was working 10 different side hustles. In order to support my family, and acting was just one small slice of it. Um, and it was a gift, and I sometimes I've mentioned this before where in some like growing up, Bruce Lee was such an idol of mine because he gave me this a role model. In many ways, that he kind of got me through my childhood. Through bullying and going, and like
Hello.
dreaming and about being a martial artist and being an actor. Like he inspired me so much as a child growing up. And but I joked with Shannon when I met her in Cape Town for the first time. I said to her, it's funny. He's like, he got me through my youth. He helped me get through my youth, but in many ways, he's helping me get through my adulthood now. This rebirth in my career, giving me this opportunity, this renaissance. Um, having had so many ups and downs, and had Warrior not come for my family prior to the pandemic, we would have been so screwed. We would have been so
Damn.
screwed. Like this show, helped me provide for my family in the middle of a pandemic when I was mostly unemployed. So like that's how important this show is to me. Like just creatively, psychically, and financially. Um, and so, has it affected me in other ways? And I would say yes, because like as much as I had faith in myself and I believed in myself, there was so much doubt. And like I said, this business like knocked me unconscious a few times, face on the canvas, as I said. And but what this show also showed me was that like, holy shit, I fucking did it. Like
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And I remember sitting there in the middle of the pandemic. I was lying there in bed one day, and it was, when people have like this delayed reaction. This was already like way after season 2. I was lying in bed by myself, just thinking about it, and I was like, and when people score a goal in soccer, in football, right? Like that they have these massive celebrations. Like Ronaldo's got his celebration. People have their
Right.
whatever. They let out this all this emotion, right? And this is 2 years after doing Warrior. I'm sitting alone in my room, and I get this delayed reaction, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, I fucking did it. I fucking did it. Like I was like, holy shit, I'm this kid
Fucking
who
right.
had this idea that I could go to Hollywood and become an actor. Like,
Yeah.
and like it was like,
Kudos.
wow, yeah, like it can be done. Like I can't believe it, but it can be done. Like it took me a lot longer than than I anticipated, but man, like it was. So in that regard, it gives me like confidence that it's not magic, but slow progress towards a goal will lead to results. will it lead to the results that you want exactly? I had no idea I was going to end up on a show called Warrior or play this particular role, but I knew where I wanted to go. I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to act. And so, yeah, so in that way, like it makes me feel confidence in that, but I'm also constantly reminded that like you're also just a pleb. Like, that's the thing about being an actor. Like you want to be this big and audacious character on TV, like Young June, but then like, life is also like, no, you're also just a human being. You take shits like everybody else. You get sick, y- you know. And luckily my family's there to remind me of that.
Now
Right.
you're ready for the new Tong leader. Wise.
Right. Maybe
Yeah, yeah,
it's his time.
exactly. Wisdom, exactly.
We're gonna have to get you. We're gonna try to have to get you back on here when we recap the
Sure.
season finale of season 2, because
Awesome.
I want to know what's going through Young June's head as he
Okay.
turns around and sees that big mural.
Yes,
And for those that haven't watched
yes,
it yet, you better get watching
yes,
because we're going to be doing a
yeah,
lot of spoilers this season.
yeah.
Now we are supposed to review season 2, episode 2 as well right now. But there are a few things, a few other. We're getting a lot of questions in here and a lot of comments.
Awesome.
Jason, I hope you're okay right now with a
I'm
lot of
totally
these.
okay with it. Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. All right, so we've got one here from Miss Chin. I'm not going to butcher your last name, but just wanted to share my husband. Yeah, just wanted to share my husband James Chin and I started watching Warrior at the infamous episode 9, season 1 on Bruce Lee's birthday, which was Chinese boxing. We instantly had to watch the whole season from start to end. Seriously, Warrior mirrors the pain and the celebrations Asians have gone through and continue to go through. Not so much a question, but just a declaration. And how
Yeah.
often, Jason, are you hearing things like that, especially with the rise in Asian violence that we seen after the onset of COVID, the horrible things we saw in New York, Vancouver, San Francisco.
Yeah.
How important is it to you to see messages like that from fans? And two, how important is it for you that Warrior keeps spreading this message of love and almost unity? And I know it's weird for people to say that when you watch the show and you see the Irish versus the Chinese, but when you see, you've got Penny and you've got all these other outliers out there, Davenport, that are making that connection. Is it doing enough of a story for you? Is it doing enough to spread the message for you?
Man, wow.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's so hard. It's so hard to like, one of the reasons why I became an actor was because as a kid, I always felt frustrated in my inability to express myself. But when I would do plays and we would act and pretend, then I felt free. Then I felt like I was able to express myself,
Right.
And so that's all to say that Warrior gives me this opportunity to express myself in regard to all these things that are happening, through my art, I'm able to like express myself about this violence and this hate and racism. And, this story is set in the 1870s, yet like this pandemic has just shown that really nothing much has changed. The rhetoric is the same. And, in episode 5, season 1, I'm sitting in the coach and, they're saying, Chinese stink and they spread diseases. I mean, like, they're saying that now in 2020, 21, 22, right? So not much has changed. And and so yes, I am happy is not the right word, but I'm as an actor, I've always wanted to be an actor, but more importantly, I've always wanted to be part of something important.
Right.
And in that regard, that's what the show also gives me, as an Asian American, I from doing Better Luck Tomorrow and other films like that, like I always felt like I was on the forefront of fighting for our community and for representation. And so that made me feel like I was part of something important. And now, particularly with Warrior, again, we are doing, so many people have reached out to me and have told me this exact same thing, Um, and yeah, I mean, like, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what more to say. It's a very powerful thing, and I'm just glad that I am somehow part of this important conversation and that we're doing important work. And yeah, yeah,
I
I
love
mean,
it.
it leads right up to the Chinese Exclusionary Act.
yeah,
Okay. And it took me a little bit to get my sister, who has a little bit of ADD, to really get through the whole show. And she has 9-year-old, 12-year-old, and soon to be 15-year-old. And she can't wait until they're old enough to watch it, because
yeah,
this
yeah,
is our history.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
our history. Perry, I met Perry in person, and we talked about that, and it's our history,
yeah,
the Sojourners,
absolutely.
all of it. It
Yeah,
means
yeah,
so much. And especially, let me just add this for you, especially for us here too, because we've got a couple
yeah,
half Asians. So that
yeah, yeah.
representation of us biracial Asians, I am the loudmouth, Jason. So to see this,
And yet I still keep
Yeah.
wondering how I'm the host of this show.
you're
I was like,
honorary, you're
wait,
in with
this
the
is a show
crew.
about
Yeah.
Warrior based on yeah, I don't but thank you
It
anyway.
means a lot. It
It,
really
it,
means a lot.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
that
And
does bring me to sorry, go ahead, Jason.
oh, just the last thing that, like, this question of what is and isn't American, and this idea of illegal aliens or whatever. It's like, what what story is more American than that of the immigrant,
Yep.
Right.
right? Like, like, and I that's my story. And I was a kid from Hong Kong, went to LA to become an actor. I didn't have a visa. I was an illegal immigrant for years.
Right.
Years, because
Because you
who's going
looked
to give
over
a
his
visa
shoulder.
to a kid who wants to become an actor? And no,
Mm,
like that's not how it works.
yep.
I didn't get a visa to actually work legitimately as an actor for a good
Really?
long
Right.
time.
Mm.
It,
And some
Did you
people will
get
criticize me.
part-time jobs?
Lots of part-time jobs, under the table jobs. And yeah,
Matt and I are
so
like, yeah, we get it.
Oh,
yeah,
do I
Matt,
yeah,
ever
yeah,
we
get it?
get it.
Oh
We
my
get it.
God, yeah.
We get it.
yeah.
Now, I do want to say we got that comment here, and I'll put it up again from Paul
Yes.
Cameron. I started watching during the pandemic, and I felt like I was watching in 2019. I
Yeah.
agree a lot with that statement, but this is another thing that I love about Warrior is as an African American or biracial African American Canadian, African Canadian.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
put that out there.
yeah, yeah,
There is a lot of black people that love this show as well that seem to
yeah.
identify that. Have you found that as well? And what is
Yes.
that like seeing
Yeah.
a show that is so strongly infused with Asian representation and
Yeah.
getting the word about Asian strength and seeing so many other different minorities back this
Yeah.
show and love it?
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's a great question, because, like, Bruce Lee had the same effect, right? Like, Bruce Lee was this
Right.
Chinese dude from Hong
Yeah.
Kong, and yet, like, who loves kung fu movies more than, like, black people? You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so true.
Hit, and Bruce Lee, like,
Yeah.
so
The hip hop
The
guys.
woo.
yeah,
The
exactly.
woo.
So he, exactly, right, Wu Tang, and then, like, um uh um and I think it's because Bruce Lee, in his movies, he always played the underdog, and the
Mm.
oppressed, and and so here we are again, and I think that resonates with a lot of people from many different cultures, because and and so I could always see that and feel that with Bruce and his movies and his influence on people, and so to, like, kind of, like, ride that with Warrior too is, like, it's truly amazing, because, like, I really look at myself as an international person. I'm a citizen of this world, and to meet people of like so many different cultures, and it's not just black people. It's like people from all parts of the world that you'd
Right.
never even think of. You know, like I get messages from people from Afghanistan, like and like literally all over the world, and all different ethnic backgrounds and ages, and men and women, young and old. It's humbling, and it reminds you that like that sometimes you think it's you and your group might understand something, but actually like human stories, we all understand them, deep down.
Right.
They're all the same stories. They're just made up a
Fair.
little differently.
Yeah, and Bruce Lee not only played the oppressed, but the message is fight the oppressor.
Fight.
Yeah.
Yes. Fight.
Always
Fight.
And as we see there, like one of his best,
Yes.
one of his best students right there, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
There we
as
go.
well.
Amazing.
So,
Cool. So cool.
It's such a crossover artist, such a true humanitarian who was about.
Yes.
Let's face it, one of the greatest fighters on the planet, who was all about peace, which just tells you everything. Like I try to tell my kids, like the one message I always try to tell my kid: little dogs bark.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee was not a little dog, and he never barked. But you knew he had that bite, right? And he was all about the peace. So,
yes.
Yeah,
totally.
I absolutely love that. I'm going to call a bit of an audible here. We normally do the recap of season 2, episode 2. We can maybe do that on another time. I feel like we're maximizing a lot of your time, and we still got a lot we need to get to here. So I hope that's okay with the rest of the crew here as well. Perfect. We got a question here from the fans. I want to get out here. This one's huge. Don't mean to monopolize the questions, but one more. Will they bring Rich Ting back in some capacity? Are we going to get Bolo's twin? Will we get Bolo's twin come back?
The yellow demon.
The yellow demon.
Yellow demon.
So to answer the question succinctly, I don't know. I'm not privy to that kind of information. However, I am probably the loudest proponent in-house pushing for this, because I've been from day one like we got to bring it back somehow. Personally, I feel like a standalone episode with Bolo would be right. Yeah. Like it's like the perfect way to bring him back without like disturbing, like having some weird twin brother or whatever. But not that couldn't work, but you know what I mean. And so I'm
down for the twin. I'm down for the twin. I say I'm down for the twin.
Yeah.
I say Perry. Spoilers. Sorry, folks. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. When Father June leaves on walkabout at the end, I mean, what a perfect opportunity to actually come across Bolo's twin and then bring him back to San Francisco. I'm just saying it. That is also the reason why Rich likes every single post I put up. I'm putting it
out there. We all love Rich, and he's such a cool, fun guy, great guy to work with, and we all have a real soft spot for him, and I think we would all love to see him back. Whether that will happen, I have no idea. I haven't read anything of the new season coming up, so I am super excited too. Obviously, even though I'm an actor in the show, I'm a fan too. So like when I get to read those scripts, I'm like, no way! Oh my god! I'm like, it's like I'm the first audience member. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I would love to see him back. If I had my way, he'd be back. And I've often said this, like, Bolo and Young Jun were brothers. As Young Jun and Assam are, Bolo was his brother. Like his spirit lives on. Young Jun has not forgotten. So we'll see. We'll see where this storyline plays out, but. We'll see. Bring Bolo back. Let's go. Come on, Rich.
Yeah, bring Bolo back.
He knows the poster. He knows about the page.
Yeah, I love watching that dynamic in like the first half of season 1 between your character and Bolo, because it was just like, especially that first scene when you guys were attacking the Mohai clan and you just kept slashing the throat, and it's like, hey, so that was that kind of established. Like, okay, big tough bouncer dude, scrappy underdog was young.
Yes,
that's it. Scrappy underdog that's to like keep himself on the leash.
Yes, totally. That's exactly the relationship. As actors, right, that's our number one job, is to create those relationships as quickly as possible and make them as real as possible. And so that's why when you work with an actor like Rich and you find that chemistry, like the way you described it, I really like the way you described it. And even for me, one of my favorite moments is when he's telling his story and he like slams that the thing in the table. I just that moment, and me, that look I gave him, for some reason, like, there's so many great moments in war, but I really particularly remember that one and love it, because it's like, I was like, it really encapsulates my relationship, and it's like, what the fuck are you, oh god, this story again, like
You know what I like next is that when you drank the soup, you didn't even look up. You were just like, yeah, it's a railroad spike. So you drink the soup and Tom asked what it was, and you said it was a railroad spike, and you weren't even looking in this direction. Like, yeah, I've heard this before.
Yeah, I've heard this before. Exactly.
Mike Baker says, Warrior has a lot of fun slang. What was Jason's favorite slang word from the show?
I know what Mike's favorite slang word was from the show. I know. Let's get sticky, right?
No, that was Derek Chin. Mike's actually was, I'm always partial to fucking ducks.
Slicing a duck.
Where did all this slang come from, and what is your favorite?
So it all came from JT. Like he wanted us to have this lingo that when we're speaking Chinese but in English for the audience, that we had our own language, and he came up with it, and a lot of it just makes sense. Molasses, sticky,
Itchy.
itchy onions.
Sticky.
Like, it kind of like goes, you don't know why, but you're like, that kind of makes sense,
like crossing the salt.
Right.
Was that a real
crossing the salt? I don't think it's a JT thing. Yeah, and but it's cool because it really is like code, right? And when groups have their own lingo, it reinforces that group thing. And I think, like, subconsciously as an audience, when we hear these words, we now feel like we're part of this
right.
world, and yeah. So I guess I have so many favorite ones, but let me think. I tell you what, I get quoted the sticky line a lot. Like, people say that to me quite a bit. And even when I was in Cape Town last time, someone shouted it out of a car window as they drove past. So that it definitely resonates. But is there one particular one?
Let's get some sticky.
Yeah, exactly, Matt. Exactly.
With it.
No.
Yeah, the new world, yes, John. I'm telling you. I feel sorry that you all had to watch me kind of dance there. Please tell us there are more scenes with Young Jun and Assam and Hung. The three of you together are hilarious and yet so dangerous. Now, we haven't got to that part yet in our recap. We will get to Hong.
Yes.
But wow, please talk to us a little bit about the addition of Hong to the cast, because brilliant.
Yeah. Wow. Such a great addition to the cast and to the Hop Way. And to answer that question, yes, there'll definitely be more scenes with the three of us. And to talk about Hong in many ways, like, he was so perfectly cast, because in a way he is kind of like Hong, in the sense, like, he came in, he's like this very adorable, nice, just a fun, nice dude, and kind of cute, and so when trying to ride, like,
And
So when Chen
deadly.
arrived, he had the same kind of energy. So like it was easy to like kind of feel that way. We, me and Hassan were the brothers. We've already been here for like a season, and and then obviously like him joining the whole way. There was similarities, and we definitely played on it. And I remember, that scene where I say to him, "Oh, we can work with crazy."
Right.
We see him fighting for the first time, and it was the same way in real life too, because like obviously he was a really nice guy, great actor and everything. And but when I saw him every day training, and delivering, and seeing his work ethic, and I'm like, you know what, this guy's a perfect addition to our team. Like he fit in so well. And yeah, I can't wait to. I really enjoyed working with him. Particularly going back to that thing I said earlier about the standalone episodes, we filmed them at the end of the season, right? And doing episode 6 of season 2 with him, the Mexico episode.
Oh my God.
The banter between all of us is just, it's so. it was very real, very enjoyable, very like relaxed, and man, I miss Chen. I can't wait to see him.
Yeah. And Chen's great. And then you get on a guy like Michael Bisping in that episode as well. Like, I mean, for UFC fans like myself,
yeah.
wow. Like, are you a fight fan
Oh, dude,
originally?
I fanboyed for
That
real.
was gonna be my
Like
question.
when I forget, someone told, because I knew that that story was coming up, and every once in a while, then you'd get news of like, oh, so and so has been cast for this role, and whatever. And then when I heard Bisping's name, I was like, Mike Bisping's gonna be here. Like, I'm a huge fan, obviously, because of the UFC, and obviously, being British as well. Like, there's definitely that part of that storyline that resonates. And so, yeah, just super cool to have Mike Bisping on it. And I remember, because Andrew is a fan too, and I remember one day, Andrew says to me, he goes, yeah. I'm kind of intimidated by Mike Bisping. I'm like, yeah, I know, man. Because like when Mike Bisping's standing there, like getting ready for the fight, like warming up, like man, I've seen this so many times in
Right.
on TV in the UFC, and like now he's really doing it. But like he was a real gentleman, and really cool person to talk to in between takes. And one of the funny stories I tell about Mike is that normally as actors, we're very careful about our costumes, right? We don't want to mess them up and cause more work for our makeup, sweating, and what I mean. Like, you try and take care of your costume as much as possible. But Mike Bisping
did not care.
He's like, between takes, he's doing push-ups, he's doing it, and he's just sweating. His like whole costume is like sopping wet with like sweat, and 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 it's not a criticism. It's just kind of, it was funny. I'm like, oh, you know what? Yeah, why as an actor? Yeah, why not? Just work out in your costume.
That's
And
amazing.
speaking of martial arts, I love that you're really into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes,
And
yes.
I wanted to know, did you ever think of competing? Because here in Brazil, we have championships for all
yes,
belts and ages, and non-professional.
Yes. So thank you for that question. So I've been a lifelong martial artist, and and Warrior was the first time that I was able to like use any of my martial arts ability on screen, because it was never something that I pursued. I never kind of pursued being a martial arts actor. So it was really awesome to be able to finally bring my passions together in Warrior. And so in terms of jiu-jitsu, I had done judo when I was a little kid. And but that was a long time ago. And after that, I wanted, because of movies and stuff, I wanted to learn striking arts because I thought that was cooler. And so I got into like Muay Thai and Taekwondo and boxing and that kind of stuff. And then a couple of years ago, when I got Warrior, I started to just being exposed to so many great martial artists on set. I decided that I wanted to take something a bit more seriously, and I wanted to learn jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And so it's been a kind of a slow journey, because when I'm shooting Warrior, I can't really spar too hard because I can't show up to work with a black eye. I can get a black eye on the show, but I can't bring one from outside. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or a broken arm or something. You know what I mean? And so during shoots, I would, maybe I would take some privates and stuff and have some very gentle sparring. And then when I was done, I would, when we'd wrap, then I would, go and join a regular jiu-jitsu class and get to spar properly. And and the other thing was the pandemic kind of slowed everything down. So my jiu-jitsu journey has been like really kind of like stop and start, one step forward and two steps back.
Yeah.
But in 2021, I managed to get like some training in, and I did compete. So I actually, for the first time in my life, I competed in 2 jiu-jitsu tournaments in 2021.
Nice.
And and I got my daughter into it. My daughter has competed now as well, and she's 8, and she's got a wicked back take and rear naked choke. And so that's my goal, is to keep continuing to compete in jiu-jitsu. Like you said, Rebecca, like the one thing that's really cool about it is like all the different age categories and the belt system, and so there's a lot of competition to be had. So yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing my because it really hits that competitive urge that I have, so I'm excited to compete again. But unfortunately, we're going through this COVID wave here right now, and everything's shut down. So again, like I said, one step forward, two steps back. So I haven't been able to train for the last couple of weeks.
Nice. But it's
So
very
I'm
brave.
dreaming.
Come
It's
to
very
Canada.
brave because
We're
I
opening
get
things
really
up.
nervous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like a lifelong white belt. So, but you know what?
I'm in
It's
blue
okay.
belt
It's okay.
for 5 years.
Yeah,
Because of
exactly.
COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
That means she would choke us all out, by the way. If anyone's wondering.
Yeah. And if you need anybody on set to teach you guys, how do you call it, Frank? Bill Twalk?
Balintawak, yeah.
Yeah.
Frank is a master, so
Nah, not yet. Working towards it. At some point,
Sorry,
I'll never get to. But
you're a sensei then. All right. But
I gotta ask you, Jason, though, what was
Yes.
the inspiration behind Young Juve's Double Blades?
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Very cool.
Good one.
So when I auditioned for the show, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So when I auditioned for the show, there was nothing in that first script that I got that suggested what his weapons of choice were, right? There was a description that they're hatchet men and stuff, so I assumed the hatchets. But nowhere in the script was there anything about Young Jun having 2 knives. And so I got the part, and then within like 2 weeks of getting the part, I was on an airplane to South Africa. And when I get there, one of the first things you do is, hair, makeup, meeting everybody, script read-throughs, and we pieced the character together. My hair was like kind of like a big mop, and because I like to grow my hair out normally before a show. That way they have more to work with when we're kind of designing the character. And so when I get there, the team said, "Hey, Jason, we were thinking like of giving like this pompadour hairstyle to Assam, but then when we told the producers, they're like, oh, you know what, that's more of a Young June thing, and would you be interested in that?" I'm like, yeah, sure. They cut my hair into this pompadour, which I loved, and I thought, this is perfect, Then I went to wardrobe, and they're like, yeah, these are the kind of suits that we're thinking for the Hop Way, and I'm like, awesome, like I'm gonna get to look freaking cool as well in these suits, my hair, and like so slowly you could see this character building. And then I went to the stunt tent, and I met Brett and the whole team, and then Brett says to me, he goes, hey, we're thinking that maybe Young Jun has 2 knives as his weapons. And I'm thinking like, what? Like every step of the way, the hair, the suit, the knives, like this character's just getting cooler and cooler, and then of course now it is in the script. Now it's Youngjun pulls out his knives, Youngjun's the double dagger, and it's just become in terms of character design, like I mean, it just has come together so well, and he's so distinctive in that regard, and man, yeah, like I can't wait to pull those knives out again. I can't wait to put on the suit again.
You're not the only one. We can't wait either.
Yeah, as a martial arts geek, the way Youngjun draws the knives and the way he runs in that crouch position with the knives out, those are some of my favorite scenes with him. So.
Oh man, Frank, you know that particular sequence that you're talking about, the opening sequence of episode 2 of season 1, when you first see Youngjun pull out the knives and he runs and fights. That is going to be on my reel forever. Anytime I love watching that sequence. It's so cool. And so the way it works is Brett designs these fight sequences, and then the team does what they call a pre-visualization, right? Where they basically shoot the whole thing, but in with the stunt guys and in these rooms that are made out of cardboard boxes that kind of like simulate how big the set's going to be, so we know how to like what it's going to be like, and we can train properly. And they shoot the whole scene like that with the stunt guys, and then they cut it together, and then they show the producers and they show the actors, hey, this is what we're going to do, and then we learn the choreography. So when I first saw the previs for that particular fight scene and Youngjun pulling out his knives with my stunt double and my teacher, his name's Haiyang. Watching Haiyang do it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how cool they're gonna make me look. I'm like so lucky. Like that point out, that's so cool. So cool.
It
so
was
cool.
That's awesome. Now we've got a new segment that we added last show, and you being our resident guest here, you get to fall victim. I'm sorry, Jason, but you get to fall victim.
My God.
Matt Chua's Tong trivia. Are you ready for it?
Oh no! Oh
don't worry. Don't worry. I'll be gentle. Okay, so pretty much. So pretty much this is how it is. I will ask you a series of random ass questions. There is no right or wrong to any of these questions. It's just get to know you. As we get to know you, we finally get to the end, and then we say, you know what? You will then be part of our Tong. I know you're already leading one, but you get to be part of another one that steals your Tong's name. So it just
awesome.
So, Jason, are you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Your favorite childhood memory?
Wow, favorite childhood memory. It's been a while since I thought about it. I think one of the first things jumps to mind for me is drama, playing. I remember distinctly, when I first went to boarding school, I'm this Asian kid from Hong Kong, living in Asia my whole life, and then all of a sudden I get sent to England. It's freaking freezing. I'm homesick, and crying myself to sleep every night, thousands of miles away from my family. And I think the first week I was in boarding school, we had a drama class, and that drama class changed everything. It literally was the seed that has led me to this point right now, which is falling in love with drama, falling in love with expressing myself through acting. And so I would say that was probably one of my favorite memories.
All right. Question number 2. Yes. Your superpower of choice, what would it be? And would you be a hero or villain with it?
Get real here.
What if I could have a superpower? Well, I've always been partial to Batman, so
yes,
maybe not a superpower, but maybe just that, that intelligence and that like will, and that Batman has. If I could have that,
that belt
pretty sweet.
with a lot of
The
stuff.
utility belt.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of
exactly.
gadgets.
The intellect.
Lots of gadgets.
So I wasn't too far off with
Um,
the Nightwing casting.
Oh, dude,
I'll
man,
I'll still go
amazing.
toe to toe with you with that.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not letting that one go.
Okay.
I'm never letting that one go.
Chua, we'll give
Listen,
you
I'll
Red
just
Hood.
be an extra anywhere. Just give me some weapons to hold so I can feel
Yeah.
badass, okay?
We've already
Yeah.
talked about this, Stephanie. You do not get weapons ever.
Zero. None.
No,
Ever.
no weapons for you.
Yes.
Let's
Not
see.
safe.
Question number 3. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve. Oh, I think for me it's just not being polite. Like it sounds.
Right.
I always teach my kids this, but it's like just please and thank you. That's it. Just there's nothing more off-putting than meeting someone and then like they don't treat people nicely by like you're at a restaurant and they're not polite to the staff. You're like that to me like really
Yeah.
irks me. Like just basic manners.
Yeah.
Basic. You don't have to be. I always teach my kids like whatever you become in life, whatever you do, just have some good manners. Just have good manners. Manners will take
representing
you,
our
will take you
family.
far.
Big facts. App on your phone you're always on.
I'm embarrassed to admit this. Okay, actually, you know what? I was gonna say Instagram, but I mean that's an obvious thing because it's just such an easy thing to scroll. But the app I actually probably use the most is going back to Rebecca. I watch a lot of jujitsu videos and
Yeah.
tutorials on my phone. Like I spend a disproportionate amount of time watching martial arts videos and martial arts tutorials, especially now with the pandemic and lockdowns and stuff.
My man.
And it always fuels me for my workouts. I watch
Addictive.
martial arts videos and then I work out and it kind of keeps it there. It's kind of for motivation. So yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite attack from the top position? From mount.
Wow. From mount, I'll try and probably armbar you or something like that. Try to go
Nice.
for an armbar or get to the back somehow. But
Nice.
but I mean, yeah, I love it all. I mean, there's a whole universe, right, of jiu-jitsu moves and places to go, right?
A lot
So
of
like
chokes.
a lot
Yes.
of chokes, but yeah.
That's me. I'm the big fat guy. If I get on top of you, I'm
Yeah.
choking you. I'm getting that Ezekiel, and you're
Yeah.
done. You're done.
Yeah.
Just with your
you got another-
forearm.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Chua, you
All
got
right,
another
here we
one
go.
there, buddy.
Oh, I got some. Here we go.
Okay.
If there was a film or TV series about your life, who would you want to play you?
It's funny. Just for some reason, Chen's name comes to mind. Like I feel like
Okay.
Chen, play me. Like I would really enjoy that.
The violin. How was that?
Exactly. Violin Man.
Yeah.
The Violin Man. I want that. I want that episode. I need that episode.
Me too. Oh my goodness.
It's got to be Chen playing the Violin Man as well.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be
Every
yeah.
one of the characters should be somebody from the story, though, from the Violin Man. So, like, you'd be a character in it, right?
Yeah.
Chen-
That'd
Like
be
he's
So he
cool.
dreaming
actually
or
tells a
something?
story. I'd love to
Yeah.
see that episode.
I like this
Great.
idea. That'd be really cool.
It's
You
like
can
that
hire me
Wizard
as
of
your
Oz
agent
when,
if you want,
Talk to talk to Jonathan Trouble.
Right,
Yes,
talk
I
to
will.
me.
I will. When I get a chance, I'll definitely be dropping some like suggestions.
All right, Matt, you got one last one here, buddy.
Ooh, one last one. Let me jump around really quick.
You got a lot. Nice.
Oh, I got like layers. All right, I'll do two. I'll
Nice.
do the last two.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Yeah.
I always love these ones. Name 3 positive things about yourself.
Oh. Dashingly good looking.
Ooh.
Probably quite high up on the list.
Ooh.
3 positive things about myself. I would say
Checking himself
that
out in the mirror.
I think like Three positive things about myself. I would say that I'm, um, going back to earlier in our conversation about careers and had I had any ups and downs.
Yeah.
I would say the one thing that I've done right is that I always had this attitude that no matter how long it took, I would just keep chipping away at it. I would just keep. I would not quit. And and thank God I did, because it took it was a long road, and to be working here finally, I feel vindicated that I believed in myself. And
Resilience.
and so I think, in that regard, I was like, okay, yeah, I've been wrong about a lot of things in my life, but I was right about that one, that if I just stuck to it and just kept going. So I remember I would always say to myself that I wouldn't care if other people were more successful or got there quicker than I did, but I would just work more. I would do more. I would work. I'd put in more reps. I'd put in more time. I will do what it takes in that regard. I'll just give myself that effort. And then I guess in same kind of along those lines, the other second positive thing I would say is to enjoy the pain of it. You know what I mean? Like working out or training, right? Like you've got to put yourself through that uncomfortableness and kind of like live there. So I think that's helped me a lot. And then talking about myself, but this is kind of weird. But the third positive thing I would say is that man, I've just been incredibly lucky to have good friends and good family to support me, and to and to be able to laugh about stuff, like take it seriously, work really, really hard, but then don't take it too seriously. You know what I mean? Like, we're in this business where you need to see me having fun playing this role. If I'm not having fun playing Young June, no one else is going to enjoy me playing Young June.
Hell yeah.
And so I think these sort of attitudes that I've had have really served me well.
Fantastic. And finally, the best one of them all. If
Yes.
you had a theme song every time you walked into a room, what song would play?
Oh, guys, you already know the answer to this. Like, there's so many great things about Warrior, but that freaking theme song is awesome. Like, it is so cool. I can't stop listening to it. I can't stop watching it. Yeah,
The only one that compares to that is this.
Chew America!
Sorry. Cheap little plug there for Chua.
Awesome.
Chua killed it on that one there.
But congratulations, you are now, Jason Tobin, part of our Hop This Way Tong.
Yeah.
You've passed
Sweet.
the trivia.
Do I get a brand? Do I get branded?
You get the brand. You
are
brand.
definitely going to get branded after me.
The only problem is you have to come to Canada to get it. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. And it's cold right now. I'm just letting you know it's really cold here.
Yeah.
Now, we got the Tong trivia out of the way there. We did have some other questions that came in ahead of the show.
Yes.
We got this big one here by Divisor. Dear Jason, besides the iconic scene when he stood up for Hong as the ally hero every queer man hopes for in a brother in arms, my favorite moment with Young June that hit home the most was when I don't belong anywhere line in season 1 episode not sure. When he first says it to Assam, explaining how he was stuck inside cultural corridor between two doors somehow, America and China, never truly unlocked to him. As someone mixed who very much relates to that, I was wondering how this is probably what makes Young June such a relatable and lovable character for the modern audience, despite Assam being the poster boy. And we can kind of go on from there, but you kind of get the gist of it there.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? because there is a
Yeah.
lot of inclusion in this show.
Yeah. So so in episode 5, season 1, the blood and shit, when I'm talking to Assam about, I'm a Chinaman that's never been to China, and I was born in America, but I'm sure no American. I've lived that. I've experienced that. I'm from Hong Kong, but I'm not Chinese enough. In England, I have I'm British, but I'm not English enough. When I'm in America, I'm not American enough. And I've been told these things by people that are neither of those things either. I've been told by not just by Chinese people, you're not Chinese. I've been told that by like white people, like, oh, you're not Chinese enough. You're not a real Chinese, or this. And that's why earlier in this podcast, I said, I really do feel like a citizen of this world. I have lived and felt all my life like being that bird between two trees, and so when it came to reading that script and performing it, it was, for lack of a better description, it was easy because I've lived it, I've known it, and I think that's one of the great things about this show, that it's given me that opportunity to express that side of my own life. And I mean, like, so many times in your life, other people will define you or will try to, and here we are just trying to, define ourselves, right? And so I mean, I've lived it. It's and thank goodness I can perform it now as well.
Exactly. We got another one here from Chad Golden. Chad says, "Wish I could join, but I'll be on my way to work. Anything in particular I'd ask, what is his favorite episode? Was the film? What was your favorite episode? We talked about that, and he said, I personally loved him in The Blood and the Shit, which seems to be a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Is that
Chad.
seem to be across the board for everybody?
You know what? It was definitely the number one episode that everyone seemed to reference. But then after season 2, 9 has, I think, eclipsed it. But like they're both in the pretty close. Like nine's an awesome episode. Awesome episode. I get to say
those are your two favorites. Those are your two
They're
favorites?
easy. I have so many favorites. I mean, the finale of season 2 is amazing too. The stuff I get to do with Andrew. And when you ask me about my favorites, obviously I'm answering kind of like because of my perspective, for Youngjun. But there are so many great episodes that I love because of the other storylines, and I mean, one of my favorite episodes is with Kieran, and in season 1, and his whole storyline with having to kill I forget the character's name already.
Right, the gambler.
Yeah, the gambler. Exactly.
Yes.
The guy that was working for Kong Hai.
When he broke down in his bedroom. Oof.
Oh man, like that's such a great. I mean, there's so many, and there's so many great performances in the show. I mean, I love Jacob. I mean, his storyline is is incredible
Kenneth
too.
Fox
so
Kenneth,
Kenneth Fox, yeah.
Great, and it's a great series that has so many different great players on there. Kirk Langley.
Yes.
Look at this cast right here, the Hustlers. I mean, this show, it's just it is so mind blowing, and I know I'm always singing the praises of Tropper, but I mean, I have never seen someone who could, in every show that I've seen him on, every single character has meaning and has backstory, and there are no throwaway characters in a JT show. And this is I mean, Warrior is like the creme de la creme right now.
Yes.
So fucking good. It's so good.
It's
He
so
has
fucking
Kenneth.
good.
He has Kenneth Lin in the writers team. You know Kenneth Lin? He wrote The House of Cards and Star Trek. He's a very good writer. He has
Kenneth Lin.
a good team.
Yes,
sure
yes,
does.
yes. He really
The
does. Great.
crossover with the actors really, means a lot. You're putting key representation to work. I mean, but you also have such a diverse cast. Seeing Hun Lee, okay, a Massachusetts Asian in multiple Tropper series, okay, and then having the biracial child represented, what I mean? So these are all so relevant. Job is just
Yeah.
in a class all
Yeah.
of himself. Job, forget it. I
Yes.
go and look at Job just for some sanity.
Yes.
Job is just
Yes.
priceless. But
Yes.
then you see Olivia in C, and you see
Yes.
all of these crossovers, and it means so much. And the fact
Yes.
that Atoy is based on a character from Toisan, where I'm from.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all of these things are so important. We need
Yes.
it. We needed
Yes.
this. Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
100%. 100%.
It's an absolutely fantastic cast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're yeah. And such good people too. Like hardworking, and we all know how lucky we are. We all know how important the show is. It's not lost in us at all. We know what this means.
That's amazing to hear. And I mean, like, we as fans absolutely love this show. We love the ride that you've took us on. What I think I love the most was getting to see this.
Our show Warrior has the best fans. You guys have shown us so much love and support. Now we have something to share with you.
Against all odds, we are back. Come and find me. Thanks to you, we're back. We're back.
We're back.
But we're being cool about it. So, we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
Season 3.
Back.
We are back.
And we are back.
We're back.
We're back.
Warriors back on HBO Max. Let's go!
Dude.
I'm gonna scream.
I
I'm
cried
gonna
when I
scream.
saw it
I'm gonna cry.
first
I'm gonna
time.
cry.
Oh
When
my
we- when-
goodness.
That was the thing that made all of us, and to steal a wrestling term, we all popped. We all just
Yeah.
we all like, wow,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
we've been
yeah,
waiting
yeah.
for that announcement.
Yeah.
And it got to the point for us, at least as fans, and those of us that were pushing the Save Warrior hashtag, Rebecca, who was huge in that, and of course the rest of the cast here. But for us, it was stressful, and it got to that point where it's like, we can't keep messaging all these people, and we're getting more signatures, and nothing is happening, and it felt like it was never going to happen. How did you feel?
Yeah.
Like, were you at that same point as well? Like, did you
Absolutely.
think
I
that
was.
it was lost? Sorry, go ahead.
Wow. Yeah. So, well, when it was canceled, like, I was quite devastated, to be honest.
Right.
Like, I was really upset by it. It really hurt. It really hurt me. Because I just felt like, what? Like, I always teach my kids, like, life's not fair, right? But it really felt unfair. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this show is awesome. We all worked our asses off. We know that we're not an expensive show. It's like we did everything right,
Right.
and we delivered it, and we worked, like, and it just felt like, what? This doesn't make any sense at all. So I was quite, I felt a lot of pain, like losing the show, and it almost became painful to talk about Warrior or look at photos from Warrior, or even
Right.
like, just like, it was just like, oh, it just hurts too much to know that we're not going to go forward with it. But then the fans spoke up, and people behind the scenes never gave up, and so it took a long time, but there was always things people were still pushing, and then when so I was filming Fistful of Vengeance, the Netflix movie based on the
Right.
Wu Assassins series, in Bangkok last year, and by that point, Warrior was canceled. So, you know, I was moving on to other projects and doing other things, and I was on Wu Assassins. And then on the very last day of the whole shoot on Fistful of Vengeance, the very last day, and I was going to fly back home the very next day. So that very last day of shooting, I'm on set and I'm with the cast, and my phone rings and I see Jonathan Tropper's name pop up. And I instantly I knew what this was. I knew what this was. I was like, oh, because JT and I have a great relationship, but we're not like on the phone all the time. So when he calls, I know it's something. And so I'm like, I say to the cast, hey guys, I'm just gonna take this call. I go outside, and then JT's, you know, basically says to me, look, HBO Max, they're keen to continue the show, but you know, before we go ahead with it, I need to check that, you know, you guys are cool and you want to come back. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Like, of course I want to come back. Let's go. And he said, okay, great. You have to ask me. And so it was just the best news to get. When you wrap a project, you're like, oh God, I'm unemployed again. And then to get this news right at the end of the shoot was incredible. And then and so that video that you just played, right, where we're all saying we're back. So I fly back to Hong Kong after Fistful of Vengeance, and I'm in quarantine, and Hong Kong has the strictest quarantine rules in the world. And I'm in quarantine for 21 days, and HBO asked us to like put this little video together. I'm like, great. So for like those 3 weeks in quarantine, I was a total slob. But for this video, I'm like, you know what? I'll shower, I'll shave, and I'll put on my suit. So like, I got dressed in my quarantine hotel room just for that like 5 seconds that I'm in that video.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I'll brush my teeth for this. Absolutely.
Yeah. This is worth getting out of bed and making myself pretty for.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, one last question we have from the fans here. And this is a question I'm sure you get all the time. When is Warrior Season 3 due to start shooting again? Can you tell us anything about it? If not, we totally get it, but what can you tell us?
I don't think it's a big secret. It was just announced in the trades the other day that production is going to start in Cape Town towards the end of March, third week of March. And what they mean by that is pre-production. So everything that like needs to be done before we all arrive.
Building the sets.
So exactly, it's like all the sets have to be rebuilt, etc. And so they're bringing back the team. So generally speaking, I'm guessing like pre-production is like 3 to 4 months. So I'm guessing, we'll be in Cape Town. The actors will be in Cape Town by June or July. And Andrew is already training for it. I'm already training for it. And the writer's room, I think, is if it isn't done yet, it has either just wrapped up or they're just finishing it right now. So the 10 episodes are probably like ready to go right now. No, when I say ready to go, they're either have been written or are being written right now. And
the rumor was that JT had 5 to 6 seasons already planned out in his head before you guys started doing season 1.
Well, it's hard to know exactly, but like, yes, when I first spoke to him about Warrior and about this role of Youngjun, he kind of gave me like this broad strokes outline for Youngjun for over several seasons. Wow. And I think we all kind of at the beginning we all signed for six seasons, but that doesn't really mean a lot because in this business, signing for 6 seasons doesn't mean that you're guaranteed 6 seasons. I mean, shit could hit the fan tomorrow, and so it's. But yes, like he had given me like this kind of outline, which I thought was like just literally music to my ear, especially as an actor. Which he says, I really see Youngjun as like this, Sonny Corleone. In season 1, he's like Sonny Corleone in The Godfather. Season 2, he's more Fredo, and then by season 3, he's like Michael Corleone. He really and like What actor doesn't want to hear that? You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? Like,
I don't want to be Fredo. Don't let me be Fredo.
Yeah. Oh, but I love that part. I love that. Give me the
Just a bad
opportunity
ending.
to show those colors. Yeah, the bad ending. No bad ending. Well, that's why. Like, come on, let's get more seasons in. Let's see where this goes.
I love it. A couple clips I want to show here. Now I have to do this just because we were supposed to be reviewing season 2, episode 2. This was a great episode, but I want to play just a clip from the episode, because this is the sprinkling that we see for where Young June and Assam might start to be showing a little bit of a split there in their brotherhood.
Father June won't start treating you like an equal till you make him see you as one.
Why are you pushing this so hard all of a sudden?
I thought this is what he wanted.
Yeah, maybe. But it's starting to feel like you wanted more. I'm just saying. There's a fucking agenda here. I want to know about it.
Oh, man.
So, wow. You two, both you and Andrew have great chemistry together.
Thank you.
But filming this scene in this episode, was this something that JT had talked about? Is this where that split starts to happen? Or where you start to question Assam's true loyalty?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really the theme of season 2, right? And we start to see like these little moments where we see Young June questioning and having doubts about, the assuming of power and where the Tong is going, and we're starting to maybe think like, hey, wait a second, who's leading this Tong after all? So yeah, none of this is by accident. This is all by design, and that's why we need season 3. We got to know what's going. We got to know where this relationship goes.
We need season 3. We need season 4. We need season 5. We need the community thing. We need 6 seasons in a movie. Give us 6 in a movie, and I think we'll be awesome. Especially with Justin Lin. You've got the master movie guy right there, who you've worked with as well, and 2 Fast movies. So Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, you play Earl, and then you're back in Fast 9. Are you guys wearing the same outfits?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's oh man, yeah. Man, what a franchise to be in. I wrapped season 2 of Warrior, and then Justin sent me an email congratulating me on the wrap and everything, and then he threw in this line like, "Oh, trying to get Earl back into Fast," and I'm like, "Earl? Who the fuck is Earl?" Oh shit, that's me. Like I hadn't even thought about the Fast movies in like so long.
He's like, Jason Lee. Jason Lee, the guy. What about Earl?
Exactly. Like, what? Like, what's Earl? So I realized, that's me, and yeah, man, like it's such a huge franchise. I didn't work a single day in 2020, but it was cool to have a movie come out, during a pandemic, and when I did Tokyo Drift, I really thought that was like a one and done gig. Right. I never really thought I was going to be part of that franchise again. So to be rewarded 15 years later and to have this story like come back around, and like I can now say that I took the Fast franchise to space.
Right. That was
like it's like that was it was like when I read the size, I'm like, oh, because I'd heard rumors about like this kind of like how fans have been saying like, oh god, next they're gonna go to space. So when I actually read the sides, like, oh, okay, here we go.
The newest thing is they're going to be with Jurassic Park, but we're not going to go there. And a quick photo for those of you that didn't see Jason as Earl in the original Tokyo Drift. I'm so sorry. I got the wrong photo.
I didn't see anything.
You didn't see it?
Oh, you missed it.
I didn't see it. Wait, did you put it up?
There it is, right there.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, that's about right.
Jason,
the wrong Earl.
That's a great stash. That is a great.
This
stash.
is the real. Here's the real one.
Yeah.
No, Sean. Tell me you were not modding the quick disconnect valve on the LOX line.
Hey, man, chill out. I heard it's all good. That tweak just saved us 0.4 seconds.
All good. This isn't Top Gun, Maverick. You don't follow the rules here, you die.
Hey, come on. That's a bit much.
When you know what too much pressure in the LOX line can do, come talk to me. Till then.
Nice.
Awesome. So great. So good to see you back in that. Like I said, it was a bit of a surprise for you.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about not being able to act for that one whole year there.
Yeah.
And then the struggles coming up. But now you got season 3 coming back, a Warrior. You've got the Fast 9. Then we've got this. You've joined the Wu Assassins.
In the fight, your sister took something of Ku's, a talisman. I have the other half. I assume you have hers?
No, so you're just right there. Like, I mean, you were with the modern cool kids for Asian action stars now.
Yes.
And these got to be your buddy. Are they like? I would assume these are buddies of yours now because you seem to be working with them now. What's it like working with Aiko and Lewis and obviously Joe Taslim on Warrior?
Yes. Hey, I'm the luckiest dude in the world. Like I get to geek out and fanboy these people and I get to work with them. I always joke with the Wu Assassins guys that like I'm the luckiest Asian American actor, I suppose, because I get to be in Wu and I get to be in Warrior. You know what I mean? And but the thing about Wu and about Warrior is that we all know each other. Like this business is so small. If you're Asian in this business, you know I know like so many people on that show and behind the camera, in front of the camera, and to finally get to work with those guys was super cool. I totally I'd seen Lewis grow up. He was a stuntman on Tokyo Drift. I'd known his father for years. His dad's this iconic stuntman and stunt coordinator. And so I was just so proud to see where he's come from. And he's, man, and he worked on Into the Badlands, and I'm good friends with Dan Wu, and so it's very sort of like incestuous, this business, right? I know Joe Taslim, I worked with him, and then now to work with Eco. And I'm a massive fan of The Raid, and so is Justin Lin and Jonathan Chopper. They love The Raid, and that's why they brought Joe in. And the thing is, this is one of the other reasons why I would love, for purely selfish reasons, to work on Warrior for many seasons to come, is because that will give us the opportunity to work with so many different actors. Every episode, new guest artists come in, new directors come in. New series regulars come in, and we get to see. Man, I would love to see Eco on our show.
That was going to be my next question.
Lawrence, or
my question was going to be, who's on the top of your wish list? But,
oh man, the Tong Wars weren't just in San Francisco. There were Tong Wars going on in New York. So was there a New York Hopway? And like who, kind of,
it has to be some top
East
guy from
East Coast.
Yeah. East Coast Hopway represent.
All right, so we're really coming close on time here. So I'm going to give everybody one quick question here with Jason, and then we'll get out of here. Matt Chu, I'll put you up first, buddy. You're on blast.
Oh, that's fine. So that's a very simple question.
Yes.
Do you have the Hopway suit, and how often do you wear it?
Oh my God, I want this suit, by the way.
I do not have my own Hopway suit, and they were going to send us. I had asked for maybe one of the suits, but when the production had wrapped and it was done, and like it looked like it was canceled, they actually sent us a message saying, "Hey, is there anything you want from and so all of us actors, we requested a few things. The only thing I requested that I wanted to hold on to was the leather holsters for my knives. So that's the one piece of memorabilia that I have from the show. That's it right there.
Yes.
But I do want a Hopway suit. Like I've been wanting to get my own one just to have one.
I want a Hopway suit.
So do I.
We all want the Hopway suit. That's
right?
good.
It's such a cool suit. And I have, obviously on the show I have several, right? Like and then there's more than one, but there are ones that are designed for fight scenes that can stretch in certain areas and that kind of thing.
Love movie magic.
But
Love movie
so
magic.
I've been wanting to like hit up a tailor here in Hong Kong to get myself a Hopway suit, but I know it might be, I don't know if it's weird, but yeah, I do want one.
Awesome.
No,
Frank.
that's fine.
Frank, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah. Next for your character, Jason, like who do you want to see him have scenes with that maybe he hasn't had them with yet? Because Young June's been mostly confined to Chinatown, except for those couple of bottle episodes, right?
I like this question.
Yeah, that's a cool question. That being said, though, I feel like I haven't had a lot of scenes with Atoy in a long time. So I feel like that's a person I'd like. I haven't really had any interaction with Kieran or Tom either. That's something I'd like to explore. And honestly, like Joe Taslim, come on.
Oh yeah,
the guy's like, there's some like Dean. I haven't crossed paths with Dean yet, really. Just briefly.
Right.
Tear down.
So, man, I guess I'm not really answering your question because there's so many people I'd love to.
It's basically
sing,
everybody.
Yeah, everyone.
Whoever haven't been on set with, yeah.
Totally,
Love it.
Totally.
Steph, what do you got for Jason there?
Go with the girl. Go with the girl.
Yes.
So, what would you like to see as far as love interests? I mean, does he go to search for Wankea? What would you like?
Right.
What do you predict? You haven't read it, obviously, but what direction do you want to go in?
I would love for there to be some kind of love story, whether that's Wankea or whatever. I don't know, but I loved playing and seeing that part of Young June in season 1. And it's definitely something I'd like to explore. And also, like, if Young June is now moving up in the Tong and as a father in real life, that is definitely something that I would like to play as on TV. So whether that's now in season 3 or beyond, like I definitely could see that happening. Because it also adds a vulnerability to him, right? Once he starts to have a family, that's another layer of vulnerability. And so I would love to see it. You never know. I mean, I'm a romantic at heart too, so like, if I read like one episode, he goes in search of Wankea, or what if Wankea shows up
comes back
Chinatown
with a baby.
and she's got a baby?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because there were a few warrior group people that mentioned that too, really around the topic of your love interest. So people want to see it. People want to know.
Yeah.
He just wants sticky.
Chua.
Getting sticky with it.
All right, Miss Nishi, your last question for Jason.
Well, I heard you have lived in Argentina. Is that so?
That's right. Yes.
How
So
was that?
I'll try and keep this short, but you remember earlier I talked about being an illegal immigrant in America. So in the first several years of my career in Hollywood, when I was learning to be an actor, I was kind of in and out on various visas. I came in on a student visa at first, and then tourist visas, business visas, and I was just studying my craft and learning to be an actor. And then with the hope that one day, when I would get a job that would then get me the legitimate, like, paperwork and visa to work and live in America. And so I got that movie, which was Better Luck Tomorrow. And but my past had caught up to me, so to speak. So I was traveling, and I went to Argentina for 2 weeks to my mom, who lived in London at the time. She called me up. I was in LA, and she's like, "Hey, it's Mother's Day," and she was kind of depressed. I was like, "Well, let's go on a holiday. Let's." And she actually my mom loves to dance. She's a big dance fanatic, and she does all kinds of different dances. And so we toyed with the idea of like, hey, let's go to Brazil and like, let's learn to dance there or whatever. And then she also loves tango. And so just by pure coincidence, at that time, there was like a really good deal to go to Argentina. And so we're like, hey, let's go to Buenos Aires. And so we spent 2 weeks, me and my mother, and we spent every morning learning tango. And in the afternoons, we would, take Spanish lessons. And then in the evenings, we'd go dance in milongas. And so after 2 weeks of that, my mother flew back to London, and I flew what I thought was I was going to go back to LA. But when I landed in America and I got to the border, this is now post 9/11. It came up on the computer that I had like overstayed on one of my trips, and so the immigration officer basically refused my entry into America and said, "Look, you got to go back to your own country." So I spent like 14 or 15 hours in a cell in the airport, which they called it the waiting room, but it's a cell. And when the metal stool and like is like screwed to the ground, and the metal toilet has no moving parts, it just flushes every hour, you're in a cell. And and then like during those 14 hours, various like people would come in, and one person's like, hey, which prison are you from? I'm like, I'm not. But so other deportees were in there. So
wow.
So they said that basically I had to go back to my own country, right? So that meant either the UK or Hong Kong. But I just spent 2 amazing weeks in Buenos Aires. So I just said, you know what? I'll go back to
halfway.
Yeah, to BA.
Yeah.
And so I got on a flight, went back to Buenos Aires, and I called up all my friends in LA, and I said, anything that's in my house, you can take it. It's yours. I'm just going to live with the backpack that I've got. And I ended up spending over a year living in Argentina and learning Spanish and drinking red wine, eating lots of good food, and making good friends. And it's weird because at the time, like Better Luck Tomorrow had just come out, so people were like mad at me because they're like, oh, I couldn't be in America to take any meetings or do any roles. So right after my biggest success, after all my struggles,
oh my God,
for 3 years I couldn't even come back to America to even take advantage of that.
Damn.
But I learned Spanish, and then flash forward to 15 years later, I get a call. My friend Daniel Wu, who's in Into the Badlands, he was supposed to do a movie in Mexico, but he couldn't do it because he was doing that action movie. I forget the name of it. In Cape Town, actually. And so he couldn't do it. So he introduced me to this director. And long story short, there's a movie set in the 1800s about a group of people that are trying to cross the desert. It's called Sonora. And there's a Chinese immigrant in this story who's trying to cross the desert because during this time there was a lot of fascism, and fascism was on the rise, and there was this anti-Asian, anti-Chinese sentiment, and a lot of Chinese people lost their lives being pushed out into the desert. So that was my storyline. So this thing that happened to me 15 years ago, where I got kicked out of America, and then I went to Argentina and I learned Spanish, finally 15 years later, kind of in a weird way paid off, because here I was doing a movie in Mexico, and I have to speak Spanish throughout the film, and like, it's weird how life works out that way. Because when I learned Spanish, I learned it because I just love the language. It's such a beautiful language. And then to actually be able to perform and speak that language was such a interesting challenge for me as an actor. And but it's weird, right, with Warrior, and then with the movie Sonora, like, these are themes that are always recurring. Chinese people getting treated like crap when they travel. Yeah. But that was a beautiful film.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to look for it. And this is it here.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right there.
Definitely take a look for that. Jason, I want to say this has been amazing of you to sit in with us here during the show. we didn't expect it to be 2 hour show. But
My
it feels
pleasure.
like we're talking with somebody we've known forever, though. This has been absolutely amazing of you, and you bared your soul to all the fans, and yeah, we're all there
Right.
for you, man. But big thanks. Anything you want to go out? Where can folks follow you?
I'm on Twitter, but I'm not very active, to be honest. I'm mostly on Instagram, and even then, it's kind of hit and miss. I just go through these different, periods of, waves where I'm on it a lot, or I'm totally ignoring it. So, if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram. It's at JSNTBN. And speaking of which, there's a lot of fake Jason Tobins out there right now. Apparently, apparently someone out there thinks that by impersonating me, they're going to be able to talk to lots of people. I'm like, shoot your shot.
Yeah.
Good luck.
like Frank said, you made it. That's how you know you made it.
Yep. Thanks, Frank.
So this has been a lot of fun, and again, thanks so much for sitting in and doing
Thank
this.
you, guys.
And, yes,
Guys,
from our Tong.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think I speak not just for myself, but for the whole cast and crew and everyone that's involved with Warrior. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, our hearts, for your support. It's because of you guys that we're back. Without you guys, we would not be here. So I truly thank you for having me. Thank you.
Oh, we got you, man. Oh, we got
And we thank you so much to everybody that's been watching the show. Thanks for your questions. Obviously, thank you to Jason Tobin for sitting in with us. Stephanie, Rebecca, Frank, Matt, your boy Zeus. We all want to wish you all love. We hope you all have a great day. And thanks for joining us on another edition of the Hop This Way Show.
This way, baby. Hey.
Boom.